Alright guys, how are we doing? Welcome back. Welcome back to the final part of the video. It's the next morning. Bit of a body analysis after last night's efforts. My knees feel fine. I've got no blisters. And I can feel it in my quads. Like my legs do feel slightly heavy, but nothing I can't handle. And to be honest, I think I could go out and do a shakeout run today. I'm not going to. I'm going to leave that till later in the week. But officially, being that yesterday was Sunday, I went for a run on Monday, Tuesday, had 4 days off, and then finished it off with another run on Sunday. Overall, we did a half marathon on Monday, a 15k PB on Tuesday, and another half marathon yesterday. So the final time was split between two runs. The first was tracked on my watch. It ran out of battery, broke my heart, but we continued. We pushed through 3.14 kilometers in 15 minutes and 29 seconds. Following that, we did 18.11 kilometers in 1 hour 31:52, which brings us to a total of 21.25 kilometers in 147.21. I'm going to say 147.21 for 22.2 kilometers. 21.2. Let's just call it a 147 flat half marathon, which I'm extremely happy with. It's been a slow build throughout this last 6 weeks. In fact, when I look at my Strava, I didn't really take it seriously. In fact, there was a week or two there about 2 weeks ago where I gave up. I gave up on the challenge because I didn't get a ticket into the 2025 Townsville Marathon that I wanted, and I thought, oh well, fuck it. I hadn't released any of these videos yet on YouTube, and I thought this is my opportunity to just cancel it, move on to something else. But that's not in my nature, and it wasn't in my nature last night to quit. So I pushed through. We got it done. I'm really happy with it. Now, the first week of training was 2 10-kilometer runs. That was between June 30th and July 6th, 20 Ks total. The next week was 12.68 kilometers. The next week, 15 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 15 Ks. Then I had a complete week off, came back with 20 Ks, and then finished it off last week with 57.4 kilometers. So that's almost a 60-kilometer training week. And when we're leading into something like a marathon, I'm going to have to do things like that. The future is bright. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the day that I do head out there with that goal of running for almost 4 hours and not stopping until I finish 42.2 Ks. It wasn't yesterday. Do I think that I could have pushed through to finish a 4-hour marathon yesterday? Physically, yes. Mentally, no. Because it's all about what mindset you have when you step out that front door, or when you strap those shoes on and take those first steps. That will carry you through. Obviously, there is going to be adversity. You are going to have to push through things mentally and physically. You might get a niggle on kilometer 5 and think, how the hell am I going to get to 42 Ks with this? But the body has a funny way of working itself out, right? So you might have something that's giving you some pain at 5 kilometers, and then at 10 Ks, it's magically disappeared. You might have some head noise at 15, and then once you pass 21, you're halfway through, and that head noise starts to turn into something more positive. You never know how it's going to go. Yesterday went well. This next week's going to be interesting. I think I'm 99% sure I'm going to enter a 21-kilometer trail half marathon race, which is actually run about 15 minutes down the road. So it's a locally run trail race. They do have a marathon distance, but I'm not ready for that. So I'm just going to do the half marathon. It's going to give me something to compete at, to really put my all into, and just continue in that building process to the eventual goal, which is a sub-4 marathon. So that's how yesterday went. I will be back with a report on the next run we do. When or where that will be, I don't know, but I'm not going to leave it 5 days. I'll leave it possibly 2. So today's going to be completely off. I'll wake up tomorrow morning, and assess how I'm feeling, and get back out there. Will it be a half marathon? Most probably not. Will it be 10Ks? Absolutely. Will it be something in the middle? Quite possibly. So 10 to 15. I feel like 10Ks, you know, over the last 5 or 6 weeks, that 5 kilometer, you know, mental barrier has now turned into a 10 kilometer mental barrier, and anything under 10Ks is like, well, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in anything under 10Ks. And when you build that mindset, then distances like 20, 30 or 40 become more reasonable, and they seem more, you know, feasible and possible. And so I would say within 2 or 3 weeks I will be running the 42.2K distance, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next one.